Welcome to Subramani. I'm going to talk a little about my dividend strategy or investing in companies with pay good dividends. I will mention a few names, but those are things in which I have invested. I've been lucky enough to invest and I've been holding out blah blah blah. Doesn't really matter. But what is the first thing people ask me is this a good time to be concentrating on a dividend reinvestment strategy? In my mind, yes. But as the market goes higher and everything starts going up, will you be able to find have whatever is your criteria, will you be able to find good dividend yield paying shares? My answer is I doubt it. You may not, in a booming market, you will find shares with a very high PE. In fact, a lot of the market does not does not fit into my criteria for dividend yield. So for me, dividend yield shares, the PE has to be less than 25 for sure. So where are the shares? Maybe some PSU pockets may be there, but your HULs and Colgates and all were never willing to fall into that criteria. But I would still have them because I still get good dividends because my cost has been less. But that was long ago, right? So how much money is required to start dividend investing? I think you need to start with at least 1 lakh of rupees, because then you will invest at least 20,000 rupees in 5 shares, and that is how you should. And you should do an equal weighted strategy. Whatever shares you have decided to buy, let's call them A, B, C, D, E. You don't know why you're buying more of A or less of E or things like that. So you buy them as an equal strategy. You buy 20,000 rupees worth in 5 companies. So that's your 1 lakh portfolio. Then as and when you keep adding, for every 1 or for every 2-3 lakhs, if you add 1 company, that will be good enough. So, right. So you will go up to 15-16 lakhs or 20 lakhs with just say 8 companies, 9 companies. That's good enough. 10 companies maybe. Because then now you're now 10% in each, or you have now then you started reinvesting the dividends. So when you start reinvesting the dividend, the companies which pay more dividends, higher dividends, which could be the PSU shares in my case, they would pay out more dividends. So let us say I had 10,000 shares of Indian Oil. Out of the dividend which came, I could buy another 800 shares or 900 shares or maybe 1,000 shares. So next year I will have 11,000, and if the price also goes up, it may be proportionately not 20%, but say 21% or 22% of my portfolio, and not just 20%, simply because it had a higher dividend payout. So start with 1 lakh and then slowly diversify. If you don't know how to diversify, then look at the Sensex and say what percentage should be in what industry. That's a good way to look at it and say, oh, I should not be more than 30% in BFSI, right? So somewhere you will have limitations while doing portfolio structuring. You may not understand how to do it. The index is a fantastic way to learn, or you pick up any good share fund manager, like say Prashant J or anybody. Just pick up Naren and then see how they are allocating to which industry at what stage, right? So that's the way you learn how to do portfolio construction. Not a way to copy, but a way to learn, because all these people will have a upper and a lower limit as to. So they may say, okay, 30% of the index is BFSI, so I will not go beyond 40, but I will not go below 20, right? So I put a cap and a bottom, saying I will be in this range. So you could do things like that. So that's the way you start. Then the dividend have got reinvested. You're earning more, so more money has got invested. This is the way to go about with your dividend strategy. Then you have to have your strategy statement saying what will you buy, at what PE will you buy, at what dividend yield will you buy, will you sell because the dividend yield has fallen, right? So I don't want to decide how much you should invest, but very clearly when you're starting to invest, you should be largely in equity. But again, this is so difficult to say. Now, suppose you are son of rich parents. Your father is a vice president in the bank. Your mother is a doctor. and you have the luxury of staying in a comfortable house and blah blah blah, everything is taken care of. You don't need to have any great luxury expense also, because all the luxury items are already available in your house. Maybe there's a spare car, so you and your dad fills up the petrol, so you don't have travel costs, nothing. Obviously you will be able to save much more, right? But a person who is supporting his family, he'll need to have emergency fund, right? So once you have the emergency fund, depending on your own risk appetite, of which I have no clue, I'm like I keep saying, I'm more like a textbook and less like a coach. Based on all that, you have some money to invest that should go, and the earlier that your money goes into good quality direct equity, the greater is the wealth that you will create. Greater wealth means an early retirement. So you could technically say, okay, I'm 39 years of age and I have enough money not to work for even one more day beyond this. However, I will keep myself busy, I will do something, I want to be socially relevant, I want to, those kind of things you will do. So create an emergency fund. After that, you can put money into equity. Another question which people ask is, oh, you're also talking about asset allocation. No, I am not talking about asset allocation. I will come to investing in debt only after your age of 45, assuming you're going to retire at 60. If you're a doctor and you're going to retire at 70, till 55, I will not even give you too much advice on debt. But I also need to understand, for a doctor, the main job is like risk, right? It's equity, because he is practicing. If he were in service, let's say he's a doctor and he's working in the armed forces, then your life is set, right? Till you will have an index pension. They still have index pension. And you will work maybe till the age of 70 or at least 65, 66, you will definitely work. Then your asset allocation can look very different. So I'm not getting into asset allocation, but I'm very happy going into equity, doing averaging, doing dividend reinvesting, and for me it has worked. Like I keep saying, I can only say for me it has worked. You see what will work for you. If you plan to contribute and buy a particular share every month, then check for somebody with a low brokerage. If you are a person who is anyway going to deal in big lump sums, it doesn't really matter who is your broker, because the brokerage doesn't matter. But if you are in a lower brokerage, adding say 500 rupees every month or 1000 rupees every month is much cheaper than somebody who charges a minimum brokerage. Check out all this and create your direct equity portfolio with a good dividend yield. I think if you start at the age of 22 and do a smart job, you should be able to retire at 35, 37, 39 maybe. Sorry. Thank you.